Hello. Uh, Let us start the variety of moral issues, which is the continuity of the previous video. In professional engineering, is we have already seen about the moral values. Yes, now we will look into the variety of moral issues. It would be relevant to know why and how do moral issues arise in a profession, or why do people behave unethically. The reasons for people, including the employer and employees, behaving unethically may be classified into three categories: research crunch, opportunity, and attitude. So, if you see about resource crunch, that means due to pressure through time limits, availability of money, or budgetary constraints and technology decay or obsolescence, pressure from the government to complete the project in time, for example, before the elections, and a reduction in the budget because of sudden war or natural calamity, example tsunami, and obsolescence due to technology innovation by the competitor that leads to manipulation and unsafe and unethical execution of projects. So, if you see another moral issue is involving individuals in the development of goals and values and developing policies that allow for individual diversity, dissent, and input to decision making will prevent unethical results. Coming to the next variety of moral issue is opportunity. Opportunity in simple says, so for example, double standards or the behavior of the employers towards the employees and the public. So here the unethical behavior, for example, we can say the unethical behaviors of the world commerce, that is in USA, and Enron in USA as well as India, executives, that is the behaviors of the executives in 2002, that resulted in bankruptcy for those companies. Okay. Another thing is the management. Is management projecting their own interests more than that of their employees? So if they show their interest only in getting the profit alone for the company instead of the welfare of the employees. So some organizations overemphasize short-term gains and results at the expense of themselves and others. Another issue is the emphasis on results and gains at the expenses of the employees and the management by objectives without focusing on empowerment and improvement of the infrastructure. So this is best encountered by developing policies that allow conscience keepers and whistleblowers and appointing ombudsman who can work confidentially with people to solve the unethical problems internally. Next, attitude. Attitude means, see, we can say about many types of attitudes here. Is so we'll concentrate on these types now. Is poor attitude. Poor attitude of the employees set in due to low morale of the employees because of dissatisfaction and downsizing, and absence of grievance reversal mechanism. Then lack of promotion or career development policies or denied promotions, lack of transparency, absence of recognition and reward system, and poor working environments. So these leads to the poor attitude of the employees. Giving ethics training for all, recognizing ethical conduct in workplace, including ethics in performance appraisal and Encouraging open discussion on ethical issues are some of the directions to promote positive attitudes among the employees. To get firm and positive effect, ethical standards must be set and adopted by the senior management with input from all personnel. Next, coming to the types of inquiries. See, there are three types of inquiries in solving the ethical problems. The first one is normative inquiry, next conceptual inquiry, and factual or descriptive inquiry. These three types, we will see when we see into the discussion about of these three types of inquiries, we can illustrate the differences and the preferences of the inquiries. Normative inquiry. It seeks identify and justify the morally desirable norms or standards that should guide individuals and groups. It also has the theoretical goal of justifying particular moral judgments. Normative questions are about what ought to be and what is good based on normal values. For example, how far does the obligation of engineers to protect public safety extend in any given situation? Next, when, if ever, should engineers be expected to blow whistle on dangerous practices of their employers? Then, whose values ought to be primary in making judgment about acceptable risks in design for a public transport system or a nuclear plant? Is it of management, senior engineers, government voters, or all of them? And when and why is the government justified in interfering with the organizations, and what are the reasons on which the engineers show their obligations to their employees or clients or the public? Conceptual inquiry. When we see into this conceptual inquiry, it is directed to clarify the meaning of concepts or ideas or principles that are expressed by words or by questions and statements. For example, what is meant by safety and how is it related to risk, and what is a bribe and what is a profession? When moral concepts are discussed, normative and conceptual issues are closely interconnected. Coming to the descriptive inquiry or the factual inquiry, it is aimed to obtain facts needed for understanding and resolving value issues. Researchers conduct factual inquiries using mathematical or statistical techniques. The inquiry provides important information on business realities, engineering practice, and the effectiveness of professional societies in fostering moral conduct, the procedures used in risk assessment, and psychological profiles of engineers. The facts provide not only the reasons for moral problems but also enable us to develop alternative ways of resolving moral problems. For example, how were the benefits assessed, and what are the procedures followed in risk assessment? What are short-term and long-term effects of drinking water being polluted, and who conducted the test on materials? So these are the facts that are needed for understanding and resolving the value issues in any company. Okay. Next, coming to moral dilemma. So moral dilemma, as you say as a definition, is the dilemmas are situations in which moral reasons come into conflict or in which the application of moral values or problems, and one is not clear of the immediate choice or solution of the problems. So moral reasons could be rights, duties, goods, and obligations. These situations do not mean that things had gone wrong, but they only indicate the presence of moral complexity. So this makes the decision making complex. For example, a person promised to meet a friend and dine, but he has to help his uncle who is involved in an accident. One has to fix a priority for this. So how do you fix the priority here? So we'll fix the priority to help his uncle. Yes. So these are some difficulties in arriving at the solution to the problems in dilemma. Okay. So there are three complex situations that leads to moral dilemma. So let us continue this in the next video. and we'll get in-depth knowledge of the moral dilemma and the moral autonomy in the next class. Okay, thank you.